50 Cent is actually trolling Beyonce.
Time now for a big story making waves in the music world. It looks like all the single ladies are staying home as Beyonce's Cowboy Carter Tour, it is struggling to sell out.
Beyonce's out of touch, okay? People are fighting for their lives, they're getting deported, they're losing their jobs. We have better things to do, Beyonce, than make you rich.
Here's the deal, when it premiered, it did hit #1 for 2 weeks, but then the numbers cratered.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies.
Did Queen Bee just stumble off her own saddle? On opening night of the Cowboy Carter Tour, SoFi Stadium's upper decks glowed a worrying blue on Ticketmaster, meaning thousands of seats sat unsold, and last-minute prices slipped below the cost of dinner at a chain restaurant. It's the first time in a decade that Beyoncé has launched a tour to visible gaps in the crowd, and the optics alone jolted fans who once battled 50-minute online queues for her shows. Even die-hard Beehivers admit they've never seen numbers plunge this hard, this fast. Pre-sale floor spots that had soared past $800 in February were offered for $57.50 on resale sites just hours before showtime, with 500-level nosebleeds dipping to $54. Screenshots of entire pit sections streaked across X and Instagram, while commentators joked you could snag a seat for less than a Happy Meal. So what happened? In LA alone, independent tallies counted 3,200 empty chairs when the lights went down, shattering the myth that Beyoncé tickets always vanish on day one. Ticket analysts say a perfect storm, concert fatigue after Renaissance, dynamic pricing sticker shock, and a colder economy left even casual fans on the fence, giving scalpers a brutal reality check they didn't see coming. But sagging prices are only half the mystery. Why is 50 Cent gleefully amplifying every empty seat screenshot, and what bigger scandal is he hinting at? Stay tuned and remember to subscribe, because the chatter gets a lot darker once we follow the money trail. Turns out you can oversaturate even the Beehive. 12 months ago they maxed credit cards chasing the Renaissance spectacle. Now many are still paying it off, facing steeper rents and eye-rolling at another premium presale. When Cowboy Carter tickets first dropped, dynamic pricing shoved floor spots toward 4 figures, only to crater weeks later, with some seats tumbling from $777 to $25 on resale hubs. Fans who once bragged about selling a kidney for Bey began trading tips on Reddit about swooping in day of, when prices fall 30 to 60%. But cost isn't the only curveball. The album itself split the Hive down the middle. Streaming traction has lagged far behind Renaissance. Daily US plays hover around 1.5 million, solid for most acts, but a steep drop from the disco era's launch, and chart watchers note the record slid out of the Billboard 200 in just 28 weeks, Beyoncé's fastest fade yet. Country fusion purists snub the project as genre cosplay, while longtime pop R&B loyalists admit they skip half the track list. Even big market stops feel the chill. Upper deck seats for her 5-night MetLife stand start near $108, a price unheard of during her last run. Scalpers misread the mood, banking on repeat hysteria. Instead, they're panic-dumping inventory at yard sale prices, nursing 6-figure losses. The takeaway? The Hive isn't deserting their queen. They're just tired, tapped out, and unconvinced this rodeo soundtrack justifies another max-limit swipe. Yet while wallets snap shut, one voice is wide open. 50 Cent smells blood, and his next move has nothing to do with ticket math. The minute photos of SoFi's empty rows hit the timeline, 50 Cent pounced. He screenshot a TMZ headline about thousands of unsold Cowboy Carter seats and lobbed it onto Instagram with his signature smirk.
50 shared this TMZ headline reporting that ticket sales for Beyonce's new Cowboy Carter Tour have stalled.
Tease getting real out here. Hey, the tickets ain't selling? Within hours, the post racked up 6-figure likes, and an angry swarm of bee emojis from the Beehive. If that weren't spicy enough, 50 dug into the archives and reposted his old missing person milk carton meme of Jay-Z, captioned, "Anybody seen Jay?" Puff said he ain't answering his phone. It wasn't just a ticket sales taunt, it was a pointed reminder that Jay-Z has kept radio silent since Homeland Security raided Diddy's mansions last spring. Here's what makes the trolling land. No other heavyweight in hip-hop is saying a word. Executives, influencers, even gossip blogs that usually feast on Beyoncé headlines are tiptoeing around the Cowboy Carter chatter. The hush feels calculated, and fans are asking the obvious. Do insiders know a bigger shoe is about to drop? 50 Cent hints they do. Every jab about empty section slips in a wink toward Jay-Z's name surfacing in Diddy-related lawsuits. By clowning the tour's optics, he's really spotlighting what might be lurking backstage. Accusations, subpoenas, and a past the Carters would rather keep in the dark. And that's where the story swerves from memes to courtrooms. because the next piece of this puzzle isn't about ticket stubs at all. It's about an old VMA afterparty, a Jane Doe, and claims so explosive they could burn through even Beyonce's halo. Just as 50s memes hit peak circulation, a decades-old secret roared back to life. In December 2024, an anonymous Jane Doe filed a civil suit claiming that, at just 13, she was taken to a 2000 MTV VMA afterparty where both Diddy and Jay-Z crossed every line imaginable. She says the assault wasn't a one-off, but the night that changed her entire wiring, and that powerful friends kept it buried for almost 25 years. Her attorney, Tony Busby, quickly turned the spotlight on alleged intimidation tactics. He told reporters that after the complaint was served, 2 investigators showed up at Doe's door, recording her without counsel present and hinting she should rethink her memories. Moves Busby calls straight-up witness tampering. Jay-Z's team admits they hired the PIs, but insists it was standard fact-finding, nothing more. By March 2025, the suit was withdrawn on a technicality, but Jay-Z didn't celebrate quietly. He lobbed a defamation counterstrike, calling the claims fabricated from air. Doe fired back in the press, saying she stands by every single word and plans to refile with stronger evidence. The back and forth keeps the story alive, and 50 Cent amplifies every new headline, reminding his 30 million followers that silence doesn't equal innocence. Industry heavyweights stay mum, yet courtroom filings leak like sieves, and the public mood shifts from gossip to unease. If this is even half true, what else is hiding in plain sight? And the shadows only lengthen from here, because another lawsuit, filed by party guest Joseph Manza, puts Beyoncé herself in the room during an even darker punishment ritual. If the Jane Doe story cracked the door, the Joseph Manzaro lawsuit kicked it wide open. Filed this April, Manzaro swore he was drugged at a 2015 Star Island birthday bash, dragged through a hidden tunnel into Sean Diddy Combs' mansion, and humiliated while a room full of A-listers, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé, looked on. He claims Beyoncé even asked, bewildered, why a half-naked white guy was standing there in a leather mask, only to be told it was punishment for a supposed snitch. The filing was lurid. So lurid that legal experts flagged it as either the smoking gun 50 Cent's been hinting at, or the wildest cash grab in recent memory. Manzaro wasn't suing the Carters, just Diddy, the Estefans, owners of the party house, and a former adult film star who allegedly escorted him. But naming Beyoncé and Jay-Z as eyewitnesses instantly detonated online. Clips of SoFi's empty rows were suddenly paired with memes of the freak-off mask, and hashtag #WhereWasBey started trending. Jay-Z's attorney Alex Spiro pushed back hard, producing travel receipts that showed Jay on a college fundraiser panel in New York, and the Carters vacationing in Hawaii the very weekend in question. Within days, Manzaro quietly amended his complaint, scrubbing Beyoncé and Jay-Z's names entirely. E! News and multiple outlets reported the about-face, calling it a small but telling win for the Carters. Still, the damage was done. For casual spectators, the visual stuck. Beyoncé's tour, struggling while allegations swirl that she once witnessed a human punishment ritual. Even after being dropped, her silence fed every conspiracy thread. Why didn't her team deny the story the moment it landed, the way Spiro denied it for Jay? Was it caution or coordination? The result? A perfect storm for 50 Cent. Every time he reposts a $25 ticket screenshot, the comments fill with side-eye emojis and "Was this the mask party?" jokes. Whether the claim stands or collapses in court almost doesn't matter. Public curiosity has already fused the Cowboy Carter flop to Diddy's festering scandal. And the fallout keeps snowballing. Kanye West just reignited his own Carter grievances, insisting the industry's protected class shields Jay and Bey from consequences. Add in whispers that Beyoncé's grueling tour schedule is Jay's PR smokescreen, and you get a narrative where empty seats aren't just a sales hiccup. They're a sign the hive finally smells something rotten. Just when the empty seat memes began cooling off, Kanye West jump-started the drama with a late March tweet storm that praised Diddy as a brother in the struggle and ripped the Carters for hiding behind corporate gatekeepers. The rant, laced with digs at Jay-Z and crude shots at Beyoncé's kids, ran for days and lit up hip-hop blogs before X finally shadow-banned several posts as harassment. The backlash was instant. On April 10th, Kanye West tried to stem the bleed with the public, "I'm sorry, Jay-Z," but couldn't resist following it up with a vulgar question about Beyoncé that reignited the fire on every timeline. Tabloids reported the Carters were weighing legal options. Insiders told The Sun that Beyoncé was furious and considering defamation action if the smears kept coming. Sensing blood, 50 doubled down. On May 15th, he dropped a carousel of throwback photos of Jay-Z and Diddy on Instagram, soundtracking it with Bill Withers' "Just the Two of Us," and the caption, "Friends till the end, Jay, you still there?" He even joked about Kid Cudi's car going up in flames, one of the allegations buried in Cassie Ventura's 2023 suit, and mocked the 1,000 bottles of baby oil the feds seized from Diddy's homes. Meanwhile, the BBC's running timeline of Diddy's case kept piling on lurid details, secret tunnels, freak-off parties, and witness tamper claims, making every 50 meme feel less like trolling and more like a warning flare. With Kanye amplifying the accusations and 50 supplying the punchlines, the Cowboy Carter ticket slump now looks less like tour fatigue and more like a referendum on the Carters' credibility. Suddenly empty seats are shorthand for public doubt. Are we still riding for a couple whose inner circle reads like an indictment? With memes of empty sections spreading like wildfire, Beyoncé's camp rolled out a familiar playbook. Blame the scalpers, blame the economy, blame tour fatigue. Anonymous sources told tabloid writers that resellers overplayed their hand, snapping up blocks of seats and getting caught with overpriced inventory when demand dipped. On paper, it sounds plausible, until you notice how many of those stranded tickets suddenly hit resale sites for $20 to $25 the morning of the show. Fans joked that floor spots were cheaper than a McNugget combo, posting screenshots that undercut every PR talking point. Next came the tour fatigue angle. Commentators pointed out that Renaissance only wrapped last year, and even die-hard stands might need time and money to recover. Sure, but fatigue doesn't explain why Cowboy Carter streams plateaued beneath Renaissance, or why upper deck seats in major markets like New York and Chicago opened below $110, a price unheard of on the last run. When that narrative stalled, Live Nation issued a statement to Billboard claiming the tour was already 94% sold, and that 2 extra Vegas dates had been added because demand was so overwhelming. The Beehive cheered until Newsweek dropped a receipts-heavy explainer titled, "Are There Empty Seats at Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter Tour? What We Know," featuring photo threads of half-full pits and entire mezzanine rows roped off. Meanwhile, outlets like the Daily Mail, via Soap Central's recap, tallied more than 3,000 unsold seats at SoFi on opening night alone. Real butts and seats math that no press release could wish away. A Vox trend piece piled on, noting that stadium shows are great for artists, brutal for fans, spotlighting frustrated VIP buyers who felt misled about sightlines at Cowboy Carter. So the spin spun, but the visuals kept contradicting it. Every corporate denial met a fresh TikTok flyover of empty rows. Every 94% sold headline met a SeatGeek screenshot under $30. The gap between brand narrative and fan reality widened, exactly the space 50 Cent loves to occupy. He reposted each new excuse with a laughing emoji and a side eye. 94%? Must be some big and 6% they left out. And that widening rift now feeds a darker suspicion. Maybe ticket woes aren't about genre shifts or scalper greed at all, but about the legal storm swirling around the Carters' inner circle. Which brings us to the final act. 50 Cent's accusation that Beyoncé herself is a convenient distraction, while Jay-Z ducks the Diddy dragnet. With every new excuse from Live Nation, 50 Cent only gets louder, and his latest claim cuts deeper than unsold seats. In a May 15th reel, he spliced screenshots of $20 stubs with an IG caption that read, "Jay's ducking the smoke, so he threw Bey back on stage. Nice shield, champ." The post blew up precisely because it echoed a suspicion many fans were already whispering. Cowboy Carter isn't just a tour, it's cover fire. Here's the working theory. Legal heat Jay-Z's name keeps surfacing alongside Diddy's, first in the dismissed Jane Doe suit over a 2000 VMA afterparty, then in fresh filings like Joseph Manza's Miami freak-off allegation that originally placed both Carters in the room. Media blackout. Outside of 50, Kanye, and a handful of blogs, A-listers stay silent. Mainstream outlets cover ticket prices but tiptoe around the lawsuits. Tour timing announced barely 6 months after Renaissance wrapped. Cowboy Carter hits stadiums just as discovery deadlines loom in multiple Diddy cases. Coincidence? Or si parte bastens botol cabadis, or strategic noise. Yet the gambit may be backfiring. Instead of drowning the chatter, visual proof of half-sold pits has become a meme pipeline. Each viral seat map drags the Diddy discourse back to the surface. Every steep markdown sparks another "Where's Jay?" thread. Far from shielding him, the spectacle is spotlighting his absence, and by extension, the allegations he's avoiding. We started with a handful of bargain bin tickets and ended up knee-deep in lawsuits, leaked DMs, and some of the loudest silence the music world's ever heard. Empty seats might be chalked up to scalpers and sticker shock, but when you stack them beside resurfaced accusations, late-night PI visits, and Kanye's uncensored rants, they look less like a sales glitch and more like a warning light blinking over the Carter empire. 50's trolling, Kanye's outbursts, live, Nation spin, each one circles the same uneasy question. Is Cowboy Carter flopping because fans are tired, or because they're finally paying attention? If the tour really is a smokescreen, it's working about as well as a screen door on a submarine. Every discount ticket pushes the spotlight back onto Jay-Z and the lawsuits he won't discuss. So now the floor is yours. Are you buying the scalper fatigue story, or do you think the Hive's loyalty is being stretched to cover something darker? Drop your take below, share the video with a friend who's still saving for floor seats, subscribe, and keep those notifications on. We'll be here when the next shoe drops.